Movie buff specialist Phil and John are back, and it's that time of the year again where we're going to be breaking down the Oscars. The 2023 Oscar preview is here, and we have all of our notes from the last 2 years, and you better believe it. I beat John both times. Don't ever let him tell you otherwise. In 2021, I got 8 wrong, and John got 12 wrong. Last year, John was closer, got 9 wrong. I got 7 wrong. My favorite part about this is John always watches more of the Oscar movies than I do, which brings me great joy because I win because I look at odds most of the time. But this is a very interesting year. It's going to be a fun one. Neither one of us wanted to admit Coda was going to win Best Picture last year, and then it did, and we were both very sad. But this is a very interesting year because we have seen a lot of movies win different awards. We've seen a lot of different people for Best Actor. We've seen a lot of different people for Best Actress now. Best Director has been a little wide open. Best Picture, I think, is totally wide open. And if you look at the guilds this year, which are normally the best precursors, a lot of stuff wasn't eligible for the guilds. So, for instance, Martin McDonagh could not be nominated for the Writers Guild Award for The Banshees of Inisherin. So is he actually the underdog to Everything Everywhere All at Once, or is he the favorite? We don't really know. And I think after what happened with the BAFTAs, where All Quiet on the Western Front just absolutely cleaned up, I think this is the most wide open year for everything except for probably one category. And we'll talk about that when we get there. But even that's a little wide open because we've seen some updates. I'm talking about the big categories, not the small ones. But
I don't know which one you're talking about, though, so I'm excited.
Okay, good. Good. I'm glad that you're excited. That's good.
Yeah, you're just taking your competitive edge there. I see how it is.
Yeah, I'm trying to give you hope that you're going to win it this year, and you're absolutely not going to win it this year. So, John, how are you feeling? You watched everything except one because you couldn't find it, right?
No, I think there's like 15 I haven't watched. I'm going to be honest. I took my time with the best international films this year because I kind of already know which one's winning that category because it was nominated for Best Picture. So there are a few of those I didn't see. I went through a bunch more today. Like I watched a bunch of the short documentaries today, a bunch of the short films today that I could. But some of these were hard to find again, like they usually get. Some weird things are like some of these aren't getting wide releases on like streaming anywhere until a week after the Oscars. So it's really hard to watch them.
I'm muted. Yeah, I had that problem with The Whale. So I'm going to just say right now, I haven't seen The Whale. And I think that's a big deal for this because Brendan Fraser is favored right now for Best Actor. I haven't seen it. And the problem was I didn't see it when it was in theaters. And right now, the only way to watch it is on Amazon Prime. And you have to buy it on Amazon Prime for $20. Now, if I just wait a couple of weeks or a couple days even, I forget when it's coming out, but it's coming out where you can actually rent it on Amazon Prime. Why would I spend $20 on buying the digital version when the DVD isn't even that expensive? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm just going to wait. It's not worth it. Also, I see Roz's comment here, but I just listened to it in between and we sound fine. So yeah, we sound fine. So I haven't seen that. That was the one that I really wanted to see. One category where I have absolutely zero input this year is actually the best animated feature. Last year I put a lot of effort into watching these and I hated almost every one of them. I thought Encanto, I love Disney. I mean, I have a Prince John from Robin Hood over there. I know they're not Disney, but they're pretty much owned by Disney now. I got my Princess Mononoke, Castle in the Sky, Porco Rosso here. My calendar, my wife made for me, custom made, is pictures from our wedding with Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse on. I'm like, I love Disney. And Encanto was a steaming pile of shit. I hated that movie so much. But anyway, it wasn't that bad. I could not get into it. And I felt like there was no third act. And We Don't Talk About Bruno is the most overrated thing that's ever happened in the history of a film. But all that being said, we have a wide open year and we have a lot to cover. We're going to go through every single one of these categories because we want you to win your Oscar pool. We're going to try to do better than last year, but I'm going to be honest with you. This is a tough year. We're going to start off and we're going to get all the bogus ones out of the way. And by bogus, I mean ones that I didn't see a single thing for that John went out of his way to watch, which is why I'm going to win because John's heart is invested in some of these and mine isn't. And that's always where I get the advantage. So we're going to start off with best live action short, the category you have all been waiting for. I know this is the biggest one. This is pretty much like when the Oscars start, I'm like, who's going to win best live action short? And it's a huge deal. But the funny thing is when I have watched the best live action shorts, they're always so freaking good. And I talk about it all the time. Curfew is a great movie. God of Love is a great movie. There have been some great. The one with Ciaran Hinds was great too. And Mark Addy. I forget what it's called, but it's set in Ireland and all that. We have another one set in Ireland this time. The nominees are Les Pupil. I think it's just the pupil. An Irish Goodbye, The Red Suitcase, Night Ride, and Ivalu, Ivalu.
Yeah.
John, you watched them. What do you like?
I didn't watch a single one of these ones. These are the ones I couldn't find.
John, you're gonna get this category right this year. I'm confident.
I know. I'm going by a gut reaction based on reactions I have seen to these. I'm going to go with The Red Suitcase.
Okay.
Now, I don't check these Oscar odds before I go on this podcast. It feels disingenuous to me. Phil can take his angle shooting as much as he wants, but I feel like The Red Suitcase, from what I have seen, has garnered a lot of good responses from people who have seen it. It sounds interesting. I'm looking forward to watching. I'm really looking forward to watching all of these live action shorts. Actually, La Poupelle is the one that was like readily available. It's on Disney Plus up here in Canada.
Yeah.
And every time I sat there about to watch it, it's like, I just really don't want to watch this. So I don't know, but I'm taking The Red Suitcase.
I like it. I don't know anything about these movies, right? So I'm prefacing with that. But so the one that I was talking about was The Shore, which has Ciaran Hinds. It's not Mark Addy. It's Conleth Hill, who plays Varys in Game of Thrones. I got my Game of Thrones actors confused there. Look, I'm going with An Irish Goodbye. Okay, yeah. I don't have a reason. I think The Pupil is probably the best bet to win this time because it is so readily available, and that might be all it takes to get the victory. You know, a lot of times that's really all it is. I mean, can we find your movie? But An Irish Goodbye won the BAFTA. And I feel like with these types of awards, I always say that generally with the shorts, the best one does win because there's no politics involved. It's not, oh, I need to vote for this person because they're going to vote for my person, or I hope that my client will get something or whatever. There's no politics involved in it, right? You don't care. And so I believe that An Irish Goodbye, after it won the BAFTA, probably got enough attention from people that it was, let me look into this and see what it's all about. It has Michelle Fairley, and it is about a character who has Down syndrome. And I feel like it seems like, now I could be wrong because I don't actually know what this movie is really about, but it seems like one of those like feel good type, or if it's not feel good, it's like an emotion driven movie. And after it won the BAFTA, I bet you a lot of people went out to watch it. So I'm going to go with An Irish Goodbye, and I'm going to get a point on you here because you picked The Red Suitcase. Even after not watching them, you got it wrong.
I'm just hoping that The Irish Goodbye winning the BAFTA is just because Ireland's closer to the UK than the rest of these origins of these movies are.
That's very fair, John. I'm going to be honest with you. That is very fair. That's a lot of times how this stuff works. All right, let's continue going through the shorts. Let's get the shorts out of the way early so that people have to stick around. Best animated short, John. I can go first if you want me to, because I don't want you to
go for it.
Okay, I don't want you to feel like I'm just copying.
I watched all of these ones. So
you did watch all of these?
I did watch all of the animated shorts. Yeah.
Okay. I am going to go. So first, I'll go through the nominees are. It was My Year of Dicks, An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake, and I Think I Believe It, Ice Merchants, The Flying Sailor, and The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. Now, My Year of Dicks and An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake, and I Think I Believe It gained a lot of notoriety because when Riz Ahmed said them, he started dying laughing, and Allison Williams standing next to him dying laughing too. Ultimately, for as clever as the name My Year of Dicks is, I'm going with The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse because it won all the Annies. I think it won 4 Annies, which for anybody who doesn't know, the Annies are pretty much the Oscars for animated film. And so it won all of those. And everything I'm reading is showing it as an overwhelming favorite. The only way this loses is if voters literally don't watch them and just say, I'm going to vote for My Year of Dicks because it's called My Year of Dicks. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't mean My Year of Dicks is bad. I'm just saying I could see, like, you know, you have somebody in, like, you have everybody in this, everybody who can vote who's in the Academy can do it. Like, if you have just Andy Samberg might be like, My Year of Dicks. Click, done, that's his vote. Like, who knows? Who knows how seriously they take these shorts? That's not going to happen enough times, though, I don't think, to overtake The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. But, John, I'm curious to hear what you think.
Well, quite frankly, I think The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse was the worst of these animated shorts.
Which is why
from like an entertainment standpoint. Like, it's so hard with animated pictures to determine how people are going to judge them. Are they judging it based on the animation, or judging based on the story, on like what's happening overall? And I think you have to kind of take a combination of both of them, where you need some very good animation, but you also need a good, entertaining, engaging story. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse was such a generic story. I didn't even think it looked that good, to be honest. Like, I didn't really like the art style that was used in it. And like the Flying Sailor and the Ice Merchants kind of had similar art styles to it as well. My Year of Dicks, not a single penis in that movie. I was quite disappointed when I watched it. I can't not pick An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake, and I think I believe it, though, because it's a stop motion movie where it's so clever because you're kind of seeing it through a smaller screen, and you're seeing them in a time lapse behind it, repositioning all of the figures until it breaks this third wall with the ostrich coming in, and the character realizes he's living in this fake world. It is, from a storytelling standpoint, it's the most compelling. From an animation standpoint, I think it was the most clever. I really love this. I really hope it wins. It deserves to win. I don't know if it will, but I'm staking my claim on it.
Yeah, it's gonna lose. It's for sure. See, John, this is my favorite part because you watch them. Like, you have so much invested in An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake, and I think I believe it. And honestly, I really want to watch. Out of all of them, that's the one I want to watch the most.
It's worth a watch. It's definitely worth a watch.
Which is why I'm happy, though, I didn't watch them, because I'd probably say it's got to be that. But I'm telling you, man, like, you look at this stuff after the Annies, it's like The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse is like overwhelmingly favored. And I just don't think that there's enough of an interest. You have to think, like, when you're filling this out, it's almost like, I know you're Canadian, so I don't know what your elections are like. But in America, when you vote for your elections, like, you show up on presidential election day, because it's the only time we vote in America, because everybody forgets about the other 3 years in between. Show up on presidential election day. You really are concerned about who you're voting for president. You're voting for senator. You're voting for governor, if those are up. And then you get to, like, who's going to be District 14's, like, what, and you're just like, I saw this person's name on a billboard. I will pick them. And little do you know that you just picked Hitler too. Like, you don't realize what you're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times with this, it's which one has the hype. And I think especially in this newer era, I that's why I'm going with that. And there's no Pixar up this year, right?
No, there's not. I think one of the most interesting things with shorts is, for me, as someone who, like, is invested in film and really likes it, like, the reason why I make sure to watch these shorts every year, and, like, I feel really bad that I didn't watch these live action shorts. It's just I couldn't find them. But shorts are so short, you have no excuse not to watch them when you're voting for them, in my opinion. And, like, I get it. People are going to make excuses and stuff, but I guess I just have that altruism within me, and that hope that people sit down and actually watch these.
Well, and it's like we talk about all the time when we do this podcast, right? Like, we want to watch all the movies that are nominated for Best Picture because we don't want to be those people who say, oh, that shouldn't have won. I hate the people who are like, oh, Shakespeare in Love sucked. Did you see it? No, but it shouldn't have beaten Saving Private Ryan. How the hell do you know? You didn't see it. You didn't see the movie. You didn't watch the movie. Like, that would be like, what is it, 2001. I could bitch and complain about Fellowship of the Ring not winning Best Picture. Amelie's my favorite movie from that year. Like
Yeah.
Amelie is my favorite movie. So really, Amelie is the one that I think should have won Best Picture that year. But I will sit here and I will complain that, Fellowship of the Ring should have won. But I've seen the other movies. Like, and I think a lot of times, like, people don't watch them and then they complain when something wins. I was actually laughing because Davey Rickenbacker from Survivor was talking about how much he hated Banshees of Inisherin and how he's tired of trying to watch all the Best Picture nominees. And I was laughing because I'm just like, I like the same way that I won't actively seek out like Black Panther Wakanda Forever or Avatar 2 unless it gets a Best Picture nomination. He's doing that, but he's doing it with the complete opposite movies of what I'm doing. But I respect the effort to sit down and watch them so you can say, I hate the Banshees of Inisherin, and if it wins, I hate that movie, as opposed to the people who are just like, Alejandro Iñárritu made another movie, so I must hate it. That's what drives us crazy, and I think that's why you try to watch them all. I don't try to watch them all now because I don't know. I don't really care what wins. I just hope the one I pick wins.
That's fair.
All right, we're moving on to the best subject. This is actually everybody's favorite category, right? I mean, this is actually the one.
Best documentary short?
It's best documentary short subject. It's the one that people don't sleep because they're like, what is going to win best documentary short subject? What do you have for this? And did you actually watch these?
I watched all of them except for How Do You Measure a Year, which is unavailable anywhere.
Okay.
But
let me read off what the nominees are. So it's How Do You Measure a Year, The Martha Mitchell Effect, Haul Out, Stranger at the Gate, and The Elephant Whisperers.
Yeah. So this is documentary is also another one of those really weird ones for me on how you gauge what the best documentary is. I've gotten to the point where I'm not even rating documentaries on Letterboxd anymore because you just can't. You always give them a 2.5 because I'm like, this is what a documentary is.
Yeah.
And nothing really surprises me. With these ones, it's so tough. From what I hear about How Do You Measure a Year, it's kind of like the director of this movie took the approach that Linklater took to Boyhood. And just like recorded his daughter's life, essentially. Haul Out was really interesting. It's about this like walruses in the Arctic and not like this massive haul out because there's no ice for them to be on. And there's like no words in the entire, there's maybe like 4 sentences in the entire documentary, but it's visually stunning and there are a lot of walruses. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Stranger at the Gate is Stranger at the Gate was really weird because it was framed in this way where you think they're talking about someone who's like a mass murderer who's like going to bomb this mosque in Muncie. And then you're sitting there racking your brain like, I don't remember hearing about a bombing in Muncie, Indiana at a mosque. And that's because it never happened. Because this guy went to the mosque to scout it out and decided to become Muslim because he was welcomed into the community, which was fascinating.
That's the one by the New Yorker, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a fascinating. The structure of it was really solid. The Elephant Whisperers was really generic to me, and so was the Martha Mitchell Effect. But the Martha Mitchell Effect is that type of subject matter that the Oscars love, and I'm gonna have to give it to that.
So you're going with the Martha Mitchell Effect.
I am.
That's what you're going with. Okay. So my reasoning on this is simple. And originally I was actually going to go with Stranger at the Gate because I actually saw a trailer for it when I went to see Avatar 2. It was they actually were like promoting it and I was like, okay, they're trying to make this a thing. But the only thing more popular than the New Yorker, and this is a joke, obviously, because the New Yorker is not nearly as popular as it once was.
Is it Netflix?
It's Netflix.
Yeah.
And man, I got to go with the Elephant Whisperer just because of accessibility.
The Martha Mitchell Effect's also on Netflix.
Is it?
It is.
I didn't realize that. Okay. Well, I'm still going to go with the Elephant Whisperers because I want to be different from you, and I want to go 3-0 here, where you go 0-3, and I want this to be the business.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I really do think like Netflix is the key in this situation.
I agree.
if you can find the movie, and now granted, they send around screeners for these movies just like they send around screeners for everything else. You remember that's part of like the production budget and the awards budget and everything like that. You're not going to send around as many screeners for these movies to as many people as you are for the Banshees of Inisherin. The Banshees of Inisherin is getting put on the desk of every single person in Hollywood, whether they're important or not. These movies aren't. So what's the easiest way? Turn on Netflix and say, oh, that's nominated for an Oscar and it's 12 minutes long or 14 minutes long or 25 minutes long. Great, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Elephant Whisperers, though, because it's nature. People like nature.
Solid pick, but it's not in English, and I think that matters.
That's a good point. So many different avenues, John.
I know. I respect that. Honestly, all of these documentaries were really interesting this year. I do suggest watching them, especially like Stranger the Gate was super interesting because it is framed in a way where you think this guy has just blown up a bunch of people and they're interviewing him about it. And like the flip you get when he talks about like just feeling welcomed in this community, it's heartwarming because you feel absolutely horrible for the first half of this documentary.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, okay. You see, I like that you've actually watched them because, that's fun. I one day maybe I don't think I've ever watched the documentary shorts. I used to watch a lot of the other ones, whatever you want to call them, live action and animated, but I've never watched the documentary ones. Okay. Here we go. Last one of the rando categories, as I like to call them. Best documentary feature. Now, I'm going to go first on this one, and I'm between two of them.
Okay.
And I'm trying to decide which one I want to go with. I am between, and Fire of Love, I accidentally was watching, which was funny because it was on like Nat Geo or something, which I thought was hilarious. But I'm between Navalny, if I'm saying that right, and All the Beauty and the Bloodshed.
Mm-hmm.
And All the Beauty and the Bloodshed sounds so much more interesting to me. And I don't know if it's actually good or not. I'm not looking at you because I'm trying to read about what these are about. But I just think like a pharmaceutical dynasty responsible for opioid epidemics, unfathomable death toll, like in a world where we're like post-COVID vaccine and people are like, do we trust the COVID vaccine? Do we not trust the COVID vaccine? Do we trust Pfizer? Do we not trust Pfizer? Like, I think that's an interesting subject matter. Navalny, though, I just keep going back to the simplest thing, and it's produced by HBO Max and CNN Films, premiered at Sundance, won the Audience Award at U.S. Documentary Competition and the Fan Festival. Like, it just sounds like how could it possibly lose? And it won the BAFTA. So I'm going to go with Navalny, but I think all the Beauty and the Bloodshed sounds much more interesting to me. And Navalny, honestly, I honestly could care less about the subject matter of that. I just see HBO Max and CNN Films, and I see that it won the BAFTA, and I'm like, it's probably going to win. Like, it's probably going to win.
Well, I only got to watch 3 of these because I couldn't find All That Breathes. I couldn't find All the Beauty and the Bloodshed.
Okay.
All the Beauty and the Bloodshed is being released a week after the Oscars.
I love when that happens.
Thanks, HBO. I love it that HBO is doing that. So I'm really interested in watching it because I do think the subject matter sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to watching it, and I just couldn't, and it was so disappointing. I'm also going with Navalny, though. Like, not only is it easily accessible, I know you don't care about the subject matter. There are a lot of people who care about the subject matter of someone who has opposed Putin and was exiled because of it.
Yeah, that's like right up your alley.
And also, like, revealed this conspiracy to have himself assassinated. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just such a timely documentary to be going out right now with the Ukraine conflict and everything. It's on a lot of people's minds. And seeing this guy who is imprisoned in Russia right now for just being a political opposition to Putin, it's just going to get a lot of sympathy votes.
That's a good point. Yeah, I feel even more confident in that one. Okay. You sold me. You really did. You sold me. All right, now we're going to get into the awards that people actually know kind of what's going on a little bit more. And you know, sorry to say that so negatively, but it's kind of the truth. And I'm going to start off with the easiest one of the night. This is the easiest award of the night, and I think we all know it's the easiest award of the night. It's Best International Feature. Yeah. So the nominees for Best International Feature are, and I gotta actually find where it is on here because it's not, whatever I'm looking at isn't in alphabetical order, and I don't know how that happened. Because I'm not on the actual Oscar website. So it's EO, The Quiet Girl, Close, Argentina 1985, and All Quiet on the Western Front. This is a no-brainer. The only one that's nominated for Best Picture is All Quiet on the Western Front. All Quiet on the Western Front wins by default. I got that. No-brainer. This is the lock of the night. If you had $1 million, put $1 million on this to win at your local sports book.
It's so unfortunate. I've mentioned it previously to you, Phil, that I hate the fact that we are at a point now where we always seem to get one of the international films for Best Picture. I love the fact that they're being considered for Best Picture. I want at least two, so I don't just know who's winning a category straight up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially because I'm assuming I need you to say the words, but I'm assuming you're going with All Quiet on the Western Front.
I am going with All Quiet. Yes, it is again a no-brainer, like you said. It's very good. I think I probably preferred Argentina 1985 to it, just from like a subject matter, and it's really good. I apparently like Argentinian films. I have learned that in the last 6 months. I unfortunately did not get a chance to watch the other three this year because I didn't put a priority on them because All Quiet on the Western Front has a Best Picture nom.
Yeah, it's too easy. It's too easy to know. Like there's no way. And again, it's going to be great the day where we get two of those, right? Like it's going to be great when we start to see two. And remember, back in the day, we didn't even get one. And when we did get one, we were getting one when there were only 5 nominees. And it was like Life is Beautiful or Il Postino or something like that, where it was like, okay, like obviously this is going to win. But it was a rarity. And now I'm glad that it is becoming much more normal. But I agree with you. It would be nice if we would start to see a little bit more than one. More than one each time, I think, is important.
Has been 4 years in a row now. I can't remember the year that Another Round won. It wasn't nominated for Best Picture, but it had the Best Director nom, right?
It had the Best Director nom, yeah. Yeah.
So 4 years with the third one that's kind of the same because it had another nomination in another one of the big categories, but it's good. It's good seeing this international acknowledgement from the Academy because it's long overdue.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's jump into the next category that we're going to go to, and then we're going to start getting into the categories. After this one, we're going to start getting into the categories where we say this will win and this should win. So we're going to start doing that fun stuff. But for this one, Best Original Song, often one that I don't really care about, especially ever since Jai Ho beat The Wrestler. I'm just like, whatever. I get Jai Ho's a great song, but like The Wrestler like defined that movie. So what we have here is Applause from Tell It Like a Woman by Diane Warren, of course. Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick by Lady Gaga and Blood Pop. Lift Me Up from Black Panther Wakanda Forever by Thames, Rihanna, Ryan Coogler, Ludwig Göransson. Not To from Triple R. Music by M.M. Keeravani and lyrics by Chandra Bose. And then This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once by Ryan Lott, David Byrne, and Mitski. Obviously, I'd like to see David Byrne win an Oscar. But I do think that in a world where Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to probably pick up quite a few wins, I don't think this is one of the categories where it picks up the win. John, I went first on the last one and really took the difficult decision of what's going to win international feature. So what do you have for Best Original Song?
You know what? I'm going out on a limb here because I could choose one of these songs written by a big name that everyone knows. I'm going to go with Not To, simply because I think this is something that could have seen more award attention had India not decided that they did not want to submit it for international film. I think it's the only reason that we're not seeing it in that category at all is because India was like, nope, this is a Tollywood film. We can't nominate it. And I think this is just something, I think this Tollywood feel is a fun vibe. I think the songs from Tollywood are really good. And I just feel like, people want to be happy when they're thinking about songs. And all these other songs are super depressing.
Yeah, so Diane Warren obviously won't win. I think that Black Panther Wakanda Forever could win on a let's vote for Rihanna and Black Panther Wakanda Forever and Ryan Coogler and whatever, because the movie didn't get noms for anything else other than Angela Bassett. A couple other things, but Angela Bassett would be the only big win it could possibly get. I'm with you though. I'm going Natu. And I think there was enough of an outcry over R not being nominated for international film because of India that I do think that people want to reward this movie in some way. I really do think that. Like, I think it was a big enough of a hit on Netflix. I think there's enough Academy members who are in tune with all of that. And I think that R is going to pull out the one sole Oscar that it can possibly pull out and win here. And I haven't seen the movie yet, but from what I hear is if you have watched the movie, this song, this part is like phenomenal. And I just think, like, why not give it to that then, right? Like, it just makes the most sense. And like David Byrne's not big enough of a name anymore. Like, I don't think people in Hollywood who are voting really care enough. I don't think people care about Lady Gaga and Blood Pop. Like, I think that song honestly is kind of boring. Although if Top Gun Maverick needs to win something, that might be the spot where it wins. It doesn't have very many opportunities here. But I think Natu is going to pull it out. I really do. I think we're going to get Natu.
I think the thing Natu really has going for it is it's actually in the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
It's one of my biggest complaints about Best Song is it's always like the end title track. And it's like, okay, I get it. Like you're putting this in there so you can like maybe garner an Oscar nom or something. But like when the song's actually included in the film, it just feels so much better.
It feels like a bigger deal, right? Like it feels so much more important when it's actually in the movie. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. All right. So we're both on R there. Let's move over to Best Makeup and Hairstyling. So the nominees for makeup and hairstyling are All Quiet on the Western Front, The Batman, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Elvis, and The Whale. I haven't seen Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, The Batman. And like I said, I haven't seen The Whale, although I have seen plenty of the makeup and hairstyling there. I don't think Batman or Black Panther, Wakanda Forever win this. I think that honestly, the first Black Panther won so many Oscars that it definitely shouldn't have. That I think that's kind of out of people's minds now. It's kind of like the first Avatar won a whole bunch of Oscars. I think Avatar's probably looking at one Oscar this time. I think Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is kind of in a similar boat. So I personally think it's going to be Elvis with this, but I'm going to go with, here's my problem. Everybody has seen Elvis, right? Have enough people seen The Whale to give The Whale the win? That's the question here. Because I think it's between those two.
Well, it's really interesting comparing those two because they're both movies that have fat suits in them. In fact, Elvis has 2 fat suits in it. And like, I've seen some discourse on Twitter about it that like people are kind of upset that these movies that are really stigmatizing larger people are getting so much attention right now, especially with makeup and hairstyling and like these type of awards.
Yeah, I will say this. I'm not trying to lower that what you just said, but I do feel like that's probably a very small portion of people who are on Twitter saying that. Like, I feel like that's probably a vocal minority there on Twitter.
Yeah, because, for sure. I don't disagree, but like as a larger person, I definitely understand where they're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is definitely, I mean, yeah, like you said, like this will be more personal to you than I could understand it being.
Also, the Batman also has a fat suit. That's 3 in this category that use fat suits.
And All Quiet on the Western Front when they don't have any food and they're all no. But I'm just kidding. I'm gonna give this to The Whale. I'm gonna say The Whale pulls this out. And I think because enough people are watching that movie because they want to know if Brendan Fraser deserves to win the Best Actor Oscar, they are going to be ultimately so disturbed by the makeup and hairstyling that I think he's going to pull out the win, or the Whale is going to pull out the win. So I'm going to say the Whale will win. In terms of what should win, I have no freaking idea. I honestly didn't think the makeup and hairstyling was all that good in Elvis, so I'll just say the Whale.
Okay, well, I'll go with the other one. I'll go with Elvis. This feels like Elvis's only real chance to really win an Oscar. I think this
disagree a little bit.
Costume, I think, are their only real chances.
Costume's the other one,
yeah. And I don't know. I think some of the other, like, there's some other things in costumes that might get it over this. So I'm going to stick with Elvis on this one, mainly because it's the only one I can really remember makeup and hairstyling from.
What do you think should win then? Do you think it should just be Elvis? You think Elvis?
Yeah, it might. It's possible that like All Quiet should just win. Because like we kind of forget,
really
like,
their makeup is the best out of all of them because the whole movie everybody's in makeup.
Right. And like that's the thing is like that's the thing that we often forget with these films, with like war films, is like there's so much makeup and hairstyling that has to go into them because they're constantly covered in dirt and everything.
Well, and it's funny because you're mentioning the fat suit, but does the fat suit actually play into makeup and hairstyling, or is that just playing a costume design?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people consider it more makeup because like you have to like blend it and everything. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
This and costume design, I think, are two of the hardest categories of the night. So you're saying Elvis will win. What are you going with should win? Are you going to go with All Quiet?
I think All Quiet should win. I think when the makeup's so subtle like it is in All Quiet, it's one of those things that like it should win, but All Quiet is going to get a lot of Oscars this week.
Maybe it's got to overcome the language barrier. That's the biggest thing. That's the hardest part for that movie.
Yeah.
All right, so we're makeup and hairstyling is a tough one. Next, let's jump over to costume design. And so the nominees for costume design are Babylon, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. I think Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris you could just toss out. I don't think it has any chance, not because of I don't know if it's good or bad because I haven't seen it. I just don't think that Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris has any shot in hell here because these other movies are just so much more popular. This is where I'm going to give Elvis their Oscar.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Babylon should win because I thought Babylon was great. And I think that the costume design and everything in that movie was phenomenal. I think it's going totally undervalued. But I'm going to say this is where this is the only win Elvis gets all night. Spoilers for the Best Actor situation. But this is the only one I'm giving Elvis all night.
Okay. I just want to comment on Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. That was a really touching movie. I actually enjoyed that movie a lot more than I thought it would. And it's focused on Christian Dior, so I'm not... What?
I'm just kidding. I just have to give you the... Of course it... Boo!
Yeah, well, it was enjoyable. Like, it's not like some movie that I think is great or anything. In fact, I'm still surprised it got an Oscar nom at all. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's around Christian Dior and stuff, right? So it makes sense that, it's like House of Gucci got the nom last year, right?
Yeah.
Because it's about Gucci, right? Like it's that every year we need that one about some fashion designer so that we can nominate for costume. This is a tough one. I think this one's really tough because we have period pieces in Babylon, Elvis, and Mrs. Harris, which the Oscars love those for costumes. We have Black Panther, which has some like really fantastic cultural costumes in it. And we have Everything Everywhere All at Once. The costuming in that movie, I think, is something that's super underappreciated, especially when we get to man, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie. What was the villain in the movie called?
The donut.
No, not the donut. The person who made the donut. It was a bagel.
Yeah, Stephanie Shu. I don't remember what her name is.
Stephanie Shu's character. But like those costumes were fantastic. I think this is Black Panther's category.
Ugh. Boo.
I hate to say it, but I think it's Black Panther's category because I'm not convinced Angela Bassett's winning.
So who do you have as the should win for this category? You say that's going to win. What do you have as the should win?
I think Elvis should win.
Okay. Cool. All right. We're getting through the slog. Here's what I will say though.
Yeah.
If Everything Everywhere All at Once wins Best Costume Design, it's going to rack up about 11 Oscars.
Yeah.
If it wins Best Costume Design, Michelle Yeoh's winning, Ke Huy Quan's winning, Jamie Lee Curtis is winning. It's winning Best Screenplay. It's winning Best Picture. It's winning Best Director. I'm going out there and I'm saying that now because if it's winning this with as subtle as the costume design is, then everybody's just voting for Everything Everywhere All at Once right down the line.
That's a reasonable response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, not saying Everything Everywhere All at Once doesn't deserve a lot of Oscars. I just hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
All right, Best Film Editing. Boom. Pop it up there. So, film editing this year, we have Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. What do you got for me, John? Also, you're buzzing.
I'm buzzing?
I think you're getting a text or something. He's going voom, 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 voom.
Oh man. But, you know.
Yeah, you're popular guy over there.
My phone was nowhere near my microphone, so that's impressive.
Yeah, dude, it was vibrating something.
This is a tough category this year.
It is.
A lot of these are very well edited. This might be Top Gun's only chance to win an Oscar, but I think it's the least deserving of these 4 or 5 to get it. I think I'm giving this one to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, I don't want to because I think what should win this is Tar. I think Tar should win this hands down. That film is edited so well. But I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to end up with this one.
I'm giving it to Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I actually, as much as I love Tar, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once should win. And my big reason is the part where all the flashes are happening behind her head in that one scene. I'm like, pfft.
Yeah,
like it's brilliantly done. People have dissected that frame by frame, all the things that are thrown in there, the detail. And with a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once, it could have been so boring. It could have been so over the top in a bad way. And that movie is so well edited that it takes it's quick, it keeps the pace going, it's awesome. And then you'll get the moment with the rocks where there's almost no edits. And it's like, I think it's just really well paced. And that's why I'm going to give it to Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I'm going to say it deserves to win it. And this is the only category of the night where Banshees is nominated. And I don't think Banshees should win. You know what I mean? Or at least isn't one of the top 2. I think that this should be Everything Everywhere All at Once. If something's going to beat it, I actually think it's going to be Top Gun Maverick because Top Gun Maverick is just so edited.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I also think it's like Top Gun Maverick's only chance to really win. Like you were saying for Best Song. I think this is like the only other category you could reasonably win.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to jump over to one where I don't have a should win because I haven't seen I've only seen one of the movies in the category, but I'm going to jump over to Best Animated Feature, which is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes on, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, Turning Red, and The Sea Beast. I'm going to say that Pinocchio is going to win. I haven't seen any of these movies, so who knows if I'm right. I don't know if I'm right, but I figure we just get this one out of the way since I have nothing to say about this because I've only seen one of the movies. I liked Puss in Boots, but I didn't love it.
I hate to say it because I also think Pinocchio is going to win, which is disappointing because the Pinocchio story sucks. And the Guillermo del Toro aspect of this movie didn't add anything to it. And it's an astonishing movie to look at. I mean, I think it took them 2 years to make this movie or something like that. And it's all stop motion. It is a beautiful looking movie. But I'll be damned if Marcel the Shell with Shoes on.
You all right?
Yeah, my mic came unplugged somehow.
Oh, okay, got it. Because you said I'll be damned if Marcel the Shell with shoes on, and then you were just like, and then you gave me like a face of like I just died.
Oh, doesn't I said I'll be damned if Marcel the Shell with shoes on doesn't deserve to win this.
Okay, so you're saying Marcel the Shell deserves it, but Pinocchio's going to win.
Yeah. Well, the problem is like Marcel the Shell is stop motion in a real world. So it kind of rides that line of animated feature really closely. And I'm not sure how the Academy will respond to that. But it is by far the most entertaining out of these 5 movies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why the Sea Beast was nominated. I'll be honest. Super bland, basic story. Some of the animation looks really good. Most of the animation looks kind of boring.
It's Netflix. That's all that is. All right. Let's jump over to original score. This is an interesting category this year. We have All Quiet on the Western Front. We have Babylon, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Fabelmans. And we didn't get a nomination for Hildur. I'm going to butcher her last name, so I'm not even going to try. But she did Tar. And what was the other one she did? She did, I got to look her name up now. And I'm going to butcher the spelling as I try to find it. Okay. It comes up. It's like Guanadaughter. Hildur Guanadaughter. She did Women Talking, and she did Tar this year, and she didn't get nominated for either of them. And this is after she had won for Joker. So I'm surprised that we didn't see a nomination for her. John, what are you thinking on this one?
As someone who studied music, the only one of these scores I can vaguely remember, because I remember being like, oh my God, the score in this movie is absolutely incredible, is All Quiet on the Western Front.
So that's what you're going with.
I am going with it. That score was absolutely phenomenal. I'm a little tentative because I feel like this might be the last time John Williams is nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Which means he might get it here. But I don't think his score in The Fabelmans was anything all that special. I don't think any of these scores were all that special except for All Quiet. All Quiet helped evoke the emotions of the film, and I think that's what's important when it comes to a best score.
See, now, I disagree. I think All Quiet was great. I have Babylon as the will win and should win. I think Babylon's score was phenomenal. I love what Justin Hurwitz did it, the way he blended the old Hollywood style with some newer things. And he really captured that era, and his score keeps the pace of that movie flying by. Whether you like that movie or not, his score is so important to everything that's happening. And he manages to capture that era of Hollywood where you almost don't feel like you're listening to original score.
My one issue with the score for Babylon was that in a 3-hour movie, I think the score should be more varied than it was in that movie.
I disagree. The Godfather.
It was still good. It was still good. I don't deny that score is the other one that I can remember out of these 5. And now, granted, that's probably also because Babylon is the most recent watch that I have in this list.
Yeah,
but still.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go with Babylon, and I think Babylon's pulling this one out. I really do. I think Babylon could potentially win 3 or 4 Oscars, which would be hilarious because for a movie that was so divisive, it's still showing that it has so much merit. It's just people don't like Damien Chazelle. All right, let's go over to Best Visual Effects. So Best Visual Effects, the nominees this year are, where is it? All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Top Gun: Maverick. I hate to say it, Avatar's going to win. It doesn't deserve to win. It's the worst. It's terrible. I hated every single second of the movie. I don't think it looked that good. I think half of it looked like video game cutscenes. I don't care. My whole thing, and this has been the way I viewed movies, everything, my whole life. You can't tell me that I should like something if I don't like something. And you can't tell me I should appreciate something if I don't appreciate it. And you can't tell me something looks good if I don't think it looks good. I don't think Avatar: The Way of Water looked all that good. When I get those comments of oh, you don't have to like the movie, but it looked amazing. No, it didn't. I honestly don't think it looked amazing. I think it looked kind of shitty. I think they looked like plastic dolls half the movie, just like they did in the first one. It's almost distracting, and there's certain parts of it that just don't look good. Like, I don't care.
Mhm.
I think All Quiet on the Western Front should win. I think All Quiet on the Western Front is phenomenal visually. I think the scene inside the bunker is so well done. I think, like, and I'm talking about the one where they're like in the bunker.
Yeah.
There's some great moments in All Quiet on the Western Front. I think Avatar is going to win because it's the only place where it could possibly win. I think this is a terrible win, but I think it's going to win. So,
and this is why Phil is going to end up winning for the third year straight, because I can't do it. I can't do it. Avatar looked terrible. It was so awful to watch. And I can't not give this to All Quiet on the Western Front. All Quiet, like you were saying, All Quiet on the Western Front should win because the visuals in this movie are impeccable. There is not a moment where you don't feel like you are in the trenches during World War I while you are watching this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so well done. It really is. And like, that's where Hollywood just can't go with the subtle. And All Quiet on the Western Front, it's not even that subtle of a movie, but it's more subtle than Avatar. Because Avatar, why? So this is what I want to know. Why is Avatar a good movie when if they weren't Na'vi, if they weren't blue people, it would be a terrible movie. It would be a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes action film.
Yep.
Why is it a Oscar-nominated Best Picture movie? Because they're Na'vi. It's so stupid, and they don't look that good. It doesn't make any sense. It's just I will never understand the love for Avatar. I just will never understand. I tried so hard. When I watched Avatar the second time, I was like, I really hope I like this, and I didn't like it. And I watched Avatar: The Way of Water, and it is so boring. I will never understand the love for it, but that's okay. Other people do. Great. It's the third highest grossing movie of all time. James Cameron doesn't need my approval. He has billions of dollars, but I don't get it.
I have a fun story about Avatar from just last week while I was in LA. I had to check out of the hotel, and then our flights weren't until later in the day. So I asked my friend what he wants to do, and it's like, I guess we do like go see a movie and stuff. Like, there's Avatar playing, and I'm like, dude, I would rather do nothing and show up at the airport early than watch Avatar again.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I will never watch the second one again. And I'm curious to see how these movies do at the box office when they start coming out closer together. Because as we just saw yesterday, Disney announced that they're pulling a lot of their Star Wars movies. And at one time, people couldn't get enough of Star Wars. And I wonder with Avatar, was it the fact of like, man, it's been 13 years since the first Avatar. I really want to watch this. I'll go with my kids now or whatever it is. I wonder if people have the same appeal, especially since I think it's been pretty much universally decided that the second one's not as good as the first one. I mean, that's pretty much like the running theme here. So I'm just curious if the third one will actually pick up that type of box office, or if we're going to see a massive drop off.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
All right, enough about Avatar. Let's go to best sound. Yes. So best sound. Actually, I have to say it again. It's All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Elvis, and Top Gun: Maverick. John, what do you got for this?
This is a tough one. Again, I just don't want to keep giving All Quiet on the Western Front all of these awards. But it deserves all of these awards.
Mm-hmm.
I keep thinking that like the Batman has to win one of these awards that it was nominated for, but it doesn't.
Nope.
It doesn't. Honestly, like I really enjoyed the Batman, but like I've only watched it the one time it came out, and I kind of forgot it came out this year. Maybe this is an Elvis award. I have to go with All Quiet. I'm going with it. I'm sticking with my guns. I'm going with All Quiet on the Western Front. Both will and should win.
Okay, so I agree that it should win. But this is the only place where Top Gun Maverick can win.
Sure.
It's the only place. And with how popular Top Gun Maverick was, it's going to win at least one Oscar. It's going to win it. And this is the only place it can win. There is nowhere else for it to win. It can't win cinematography. It can't win production design. I don't even think it got nominated for either of the screenplays. If it did, it can't win them. It doesn't have any acting nominations. It's not winning Best Picture. And we already went through all the other awards. This is the only place where Top Gun Maverick can win. So I'm giving it to Top Gun Maverick. The Oscars in recent years loves to spread the wealth.
I can't condone jet sounds for 2.5 hours and say that's good sound editing.
It was well done. Well, it's not great sound editing. It's sound design and editing and mixing.
My apologies.
Yeah,
Yes.
get your shit together, buddy.
Doesn't matter. All Quiet on the Western Front. There were times when it was quiet. There were times when it wasn't quiet.
Yeah. No, I look, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think it should win, but I think this is Top Gun Maverick. All right, best production design. Best production design. So, best production design is All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon, Elvis, and The Fabelmans. What do you got?
I'm going to go with Babylon for this one. I think it's a tough one. Again, it's up against All Quiet. And like, I didn't think after watching All Quiet on the Western Front that I would see it as the front runner in a lot of these categories.
Mm-hmm.
But now, re-looking at what it's up against in a lot of these categories, it's like, yeah, how could you not give it to this movie? I think Babylon has a higher chance of winning this one, though. Hollywood, I think this is that category where I do think Babylon wins at least one Oscar, and I think this is the one. I think Hollywood loves seeing Hollywood.
Dude, I mean, look, everybody knows I love Babylon. Babylon deserves this award. Like, even if it doesn't win score, Babylon deserves this award. The production design on Babylon was ridiculous. Just that house party scene alone in the first 45 minutes of the movie, it should win for that. The movie could have ended after that, and it should still win the Oscar. The production design on this movie is incredible. It will win. It should win. This is one they're going to get right. The only thing that could possibly beat out Babylon here is the Fabelmans, because they're desperate to give the Fabelmans something, because I don't see many spots for the Fabelmans to win based on how the guilds and everything have gone.
No, I honestly, whoa.
What the hell just happened there?
Okay. Whoa, we're changing our size a little bit.
I didn't mean to do that.
I honestly don't know if the Fabelmans wins a single award.
I kind of agree. Do agree.
But
all right, so we're in agreement then. It should win.
It should be Babylon.
Got it. All right, man. We're getting to the good ones now.
Yeah.
The big boys. Best cinematography. Best cinematography. So the nominees for best cinematography, they are All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, Elvis, Empire of Light, and Tar. What do you got? Oh, wait, no, I have to go first on this one.
You have to go first. I went first to the last two. Your turn.
I'm a bastard. All Quiet and All Quiet. It should win, and it will win. I think All Quiet on the Western Front is the answer for this. Bardo's not going to win. You can throw that one out. Elvis didn't look that good. Empire of Light, not enough people saw. I think Tar is a masterpiece, but I also think that All Quiet on the Western Front looks better. I think the cinematography in All Quiet on the Western Front is just flat out better than it is in Tar.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I do. I do think All Quiet's probably going to win, but I have to make these deviations so one of us actually wins and loses.
You don't have to.
I don't, but like...
Because you got to remember, we have a lot different down in those other...
We do have a lot different in those other categories. Bardo's the only one I didn't watch of these because I live in Canada and Netflix cut our password sharing a couple weeks ago. So I don't have Netflix anymore. But the cinematography in Tar is so good. It's so good. The scene in the car is phenomenal. It's lights out. It is some of the best cinematography I've ever seen. And there are moments where that cinematography just so perfectly captures the sense of the music. There's the scene. I love the scene where there's the conversation happening at the back of the office and you're so far removed from it, but it's all you're paying attention to. I think Tar is absolutely beautiful. Empire of Light got a knob here, and like that movie wasn't good.
Well, it was weird.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a Sam Mendes film. It kind of got some attention. It looked really good. There were some shots in that film that looked really good. The movie itself just wasn't great. I'm just kind of going around everywhere. I agree with you. Elvis didn't look that good. Baz Luhrmann's just too busy. Too busy in Baz Luhrmann
That's a good
films.
way to describe Baz Luhrmann for sure.
Tar should win. And you know what? I'm giving All Quiet so many awards. I'm giving this one to Tar too.
Okay, there you go. Tar. And I have All Quiet. So that's that. All right, these next two are hard. So we're going to go to the screenplays. Adapted first. So the WGAs, there were a couple that weren't eligible. So I already talked about how Banshees wasn't eligible for Best Original, and All Quiet on the Western Front wasn't eligible for Best Adapted. So the nominees for Best Screenplay or Best Writing, Adapted Screenplay, are All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, Living, Top Gun Maverick, and Women Talking. I'll go first again. Women Talking won the WGA award. But All Quiet on the Western Front
wasn't nominated. Yeah.
It couldn't. It wasn't even allowed to be nominated. Now, when I look at this, I say, okay, Glass Onion, toss out. Living, you can toss out. And Top Gun Maverick, you can toss out. Like, I'm sorry, not enough people saw Living. Glass Onion wasn't that good. And Top Gun Maverick, the screenplay is not what this movie is about. So it's either Women Talking or All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't think Women Talking deserves it, and I don't think enough people like that movie to give it to it. I think All Quiet on the Western Front wins, and I think it should win.
Yeah, I did watch all of these movies. I watched Living today. How was it? It was fine. It was not great. It was fine. Just watch the Kurosawa version of the film instead. Women Talking, I enjoyed it. I don't think there's ever been a more aptly named film because that is all the movie is women talking. Occasionally there's a man talking too, but it's mostly women talking. No, I have to give it to All Quiet as well. Like, it's just so on a different level than Women Talking. I think it's just written in a way where you get so invested in these characters. Like, it's not very often you're in a war film like this and you feel like you know the characters as well as you do in All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah, I think with Saving Private Ryan, I don't even know if it was nominated for Best Screenplay. And that happens so often with war films where they'll get these acclaim. I don't think 1917 was nominated for Best Screenplay. And if it was, it didn't have a chance in hell to win. Now I got to look that up to make sure I'm right. But yeah, I mean, it's very rare that you get a war movie like this. And it was nominated for Best Original Screenplay in 1917, but I do not believe. Let me make sure it didn't win before I make an app. Yeah, it didn't win. It didn't win.
Yeah, I think Women Talking is a good screenplay. I don't know if it translated to the screen well.
I agree. It's very play. It's very play-like, and that's why I gave it 3 stars instead of more. It's very much a play. It could have just been done on a stage, and I would have been fine. I liked Women Talking, though, and maybe they want to give Women Talking an Oscar, but you know what? Women Talking, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Tree of Life. They don't need to give this movie an Oscar. Its nomination was enough to appease its fans and whatever, and not for nothing, Sarah Polley's direction isn't that good. Like, it's nothing special. It's not that Sarah Polley can't direct. It's just there's nothing special about it. It's very bland. And look, it's still better than Avatar. It's still better than Elvis. Like, in terms of from a direction standpoint, I think it's better than. I actually prefer Elvis to Women Talking, but I don't think Women Talking walks away with an Oscar on Oscar Sunday.
No, I don't think so either.
And I think All Quiet on the Western Front pulls it out.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Best Original Screenplay. So again, like I said, another tricky one because Martin McDonagh could not be nominated for this for the WGA because he's a director. He's not actually in the writer's guild. So the nominees are Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. You're going first. I've gone first enough.
There's no question here. Absolutely no question here for me. It's Everything Everywhere All at Once.
And you're going with will win and should win?
Will win, should win. I think I enjoyed all 5 of these films a lot. Like Triangle of Sadness surprised me at how much I enjoyed it in the latter half of that film. The Fablemans is like my lowest of these, but Everything Everywhere All at Once, when it comes to screenplay, we're talking about a movie that so adeptly handles themes, like very heavy themes of suicide and just like family relations and things like that. Does it in a fun enough way that it still hits you, but it's enjoyable at the same time. It's an emotional screenplay, and it's just one of the most. When you say best original screenplay, nothing screams originality like Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I totally disagree.
Ooh.
The Banshees of Inisherin is more original, in my opinion, than Everything Everywhere All at Once. And the Banshees of Inisherin, I said this to Davey, and he didn't respond to me because he's over me. He didn't like my statement. But the Banshees of Inisherin is the most Irish movie ever made. It's more Irish than Irish movies. It puts Belfast to shame. It's about Irish Alzheimer's, right? It's about forget everything except the grudge. It's about living in this country that's not even its own country, and you're dealing with the war and it's so Irish. And it is about the most minuscule bullshit happening on the most minuscule island while there's a war happening on the mainland, and there's nothing for these people to do. They are withering away, and a guy decides, I don't like you anymore because my life is meaningless. It is so good. And I'm going to be honest. I don't think the Banshees of Inisherin has a chance anywhere else on Oscar Sunday.
No, that's fair.
And I think the Banshees of Inisherin is popular enough that people are going to be going down their line, checking off their movies and everything. And they're going to check off Everything Everywhere All at Once enough times that for this one, they're going to say, you know what? Martin McDonagh did a great job with that movie. And they're going to give it to him. I think Banshees is phenomenal. And I think that it should win many categories. But I think this is the one where it ultimately pulls it out. And I think we're being blinded right now because it couldn't be nominated for the WGA. If you think about it, the BAFTAs don't really matter to the Oscars. Nope. The Oscars do their own thing compared to the BAFTAs. So you can throw out that Austin Butler won the BAFTA. Like, it doesn't matter. But for the WGA, that is normally the precursor. But if you can't vote for something, then you can't vote for something. I think Banshees of Inisherin pulls it out. I think it should win. I think it will win. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is a great screenplay, but I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is built more on its direction and its editing and all of that. I think Banshees of Inisherin pulls it out here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would not be unhappy if Banshees wins this because it is, again, just such a phenomenal screenplay.
Yeah,
like, I agree with everything you're saying. I don't know how much the voters in the Academy care about it being the most Irish movie of all time.
No, I agree with that, but I do think that they want to give this movie something because I think it is such a popular movie, but I don't think it resonates enough with enough people for it to win Best Picture. Like, it doesn't have the sob story BS of Coda. It doesn't have the female director attached to it like Nomadland. And I'm not saying that, like, the Nomadland one, I don't mean that in negative. The Coda was a terrible movie. Nomadland was a perfectly okay movie, but I feel like Nomadland was elevated a bit because of Chloe Zhao and because of like people's like just love for her during that award season. Banshees of Inisherin doesn't have that. Martin McDonagh's been there before. And Martin McDonagh, he writes movies that are kind of about pricks. And like, as much as we love Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, a lot of people don't like that movie because they find it to be racially insensitive or whatever other, buzzwords you want to throw around this week. And so I don't think that Martin McDonagh has enough behind him to get over the hump to win Best Picture this year. But I think they're going to want to give Banshees of Inisherin something. You can't tell me that Babylon's going to come out of here with 2 Oscar wins and The Whale might come out of here with 2 Oscar wins and Banshees of Inisherin is going to get nothing.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because the issue with Banshees is every category it is nominated in, it is nominated against the heavy hitters this year.
Yeah. because it's not there's nothing visual about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so it's only going up against like Everything Everywhere All at Once has it could win every category.
Yeah.
And like Banshees of Inisherin and Tar are very similar and like there's not much happening there.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
All
tough.
right.
It's tough.
It's tough. Let's go. So now we're into the big 6. We're gonna start with Best Supporting Actor. Brendan Gleeson from Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry from Causeway, Judd Hirsch from The Fablemans, Barry Keoghan, whose name I always butcher with the Banshees of Inisherin, and Ki Hui Kwan, who I'm trying. I even wrote down the pronunciation so that I would say it right. I still think I said it better than Barry Keoghan or whatever, however you say his name. Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I have to go first on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Tyree Henry, I did not watch. I don't think anybody watched that movie. He has no shot.
I did. I watched that movie.
Okay.
He was good. John, he was good.
Other than John, nobody watches. But he's got no shot. I don't think he has a shot.
No, he doesn't.
Judd Hirsch, the problem is he's just not in enough of the movie. He's in the one scene. It's a great scene, but he's just not in enough of the movie. Yeah. So it comes down to the other 3. I think Brendan Gleeson should win. A lot of people think Barry Keoghan, or however the hell you say his last name, should win. The problem is if enough people think that both of them should win, they're splitting votes. The one person who doesn't have to worry about splitting votes is Ki Hui Kwan. Brendan Gleeson should win. Kwan is winning. He is winning. He's won every precursor. He is going to win this award.
Well, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I agree completely on both accounts. I think Ki Kwan is going to win this. And you know what? His performance in Everything Everywhere All at Once is really good. He has some of the more powerful moments in the film.
Yeah.
He like his choreography is really good. Everything he does in the film is so good. And he is that one character you always are rooting for in the film.
Mm-hmm.
But Brendan Gleeson's performance in Banshees of Inisherin is so incredible. I mean, I came out of that movie saying if Brendan Gleeson doesn't win Best Supporting Actor, I don't know what's going on. But
that's how I
kind of know what's going on.
Yeah.
But Brendan Gleeson should win, but Ki Kwan is going to take it down.
Yeah, he's going to take it, and good for him. I mean, like, look, I'm not going to complain about Ki Kwan winning. Like, there's no way. I'm not complaining about that. I just think Brendan Gleeson. It's kind of. I would compare it to Chadwick Boseman and Anthony Hopkins, but it's not to that level where Anthony Hopkins, I think, gave the greatest performance of all time in The Father, and I think like Chadwick Boseman was he was good in Ma Rainey's, but a lot of it was because of him dying and just how sad that was. And it was miserable. Ki Hui Kwan, I think, is more deserving of this award, especially since Brendan Gleeson is great, but Brendan Gleeson is not on the level of Anthony Hopkins in The Father. So I just think that's like a fair comparison because I do think Ki Kwan is getting a little bit of like the emotional story behind why he's winning. But I do think he's deserving. I think Brendan Gleeson should win, but I'm not going to complain about Ki Kwan winning. Honestly, with these top 6 categories, these main categories, there's very little that could go wrong that I would be annoyed about. There's very little. Like an Avatar win would obviously piss me off to no end. But there's very little that could go wrong. There's certainly people I prefer and I'm rooting for.
Mm-hmm.
But in this situation, Ki Kwan, like, I'm all for it. It's Joel Grey beating Joel Grey beating Al Pacino and Robert Duvall and James Conner. Yeah. It really is. It just is what it is.
This crop of supporting actors is really strong.
It's really good. It's really good. All right, let's go Best Supporting Actress. So this suddenly became wide open.
Yeah.
So we have Angela Bassett, who had been winning everything for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We have Hung Chow for The Whale, Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Dude, a couple weeks ago, there was no doubt Angela Bassett was winning this award. There was no doubt she was winning this award.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, the BAFTAs happened. And first of all, Barry Keoghan won for that. Mm-hmm. So that gave him a bit. And Carrie Condon won for Best Supporting Actress. And it was like, okay, that's the BAFTAs. This is obviously like a very like UK type movie. So like, I get it. But then at the SAG, Jamie Lee Curtis won. And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, who the hell is going to win this award? Hung Chow, not going to win this award. We can all agree on that, I think. But out of the other four, this is one of the most wide open categories out there, and maybe the most wide open an acting category is ever. Like, I can't remember the last time that we had an acting category as wide open as this. Stephanie Hsu probably not going to win. But personally, I think that she deserves the win more than Jamie Lee Curtis. Can she get enough votes to bring her over the top? I don't know. No. You have to go first on this. What's your take on what the hell's going to go on?
This is so, like you said, this is so wide open. Hung Chow, I don't even think her performance in The Whale is her best performance this year. I think her nomination also comes from her performance in The Menu, which she was also very good in.
Yeah.
Like, she's good in The Whale. Don't get me wrong. She is great in The Whale. I don't think it's her strongest performance of the year, though. Carrie Condon. I don't know if Carrie Condon's in enough of Banshees to really be relevant, especially when you compare her to the other three who were nominated for acting roles in that film. Like, she's good. She's very good. Mm-hmm. I don't know if she's as impactful. I think this is between Angela Bassett and Jamie Lee Curtis. I think Angela Bassett's performance in Wakanda Forever is quite emotional. She really pulls on this, like the fact that, I mean, they killed off her son in the film because the actor actually died, so they just killed the character off. And like she gives that raw emotional performance. I agree with you. Stephanie Hsu should win this category. Mm-hmm. I agree. She is.
Well, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I think that
I agree with what you said, that she should win more than Jamie Lee Curtis. I actually do think she should win this category. I'm putting her down as the person who should win is Stephanie Hsu. I think her performance in this film is incredible. She goes through this wide range of emotions in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm going to give the win to Jamie Lee Curtis, though. I think with the SAG coming back with Jamie Lee Curtis, it's too much, I think.
So you're going Jamie Lee Curtis, and then you're saying Stephanie Hsu should win?
Yeah.
Okay. I am also thinking Jamie Lee Curtis wins this. I don't think she deserves it. I think I don't, but I'll be honest with you. Give it to her over Angela Bassett in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. We don't need to start opening the floodgates on now. If you're in a Marvel movie, you can win a Best Actor or Actress or supporting actor or supporting actor. Like that, like that's not the purpose of those. And like, look, I get it. If she's that good, she's that good. I haven't seen the movie. I'm not going to see the movie. I highly doubt she's that good. Like that good. Like I'm talking like Oscar worthy, but I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis is that good either. But I think Jamie Lee Curtis is going to win. I think this is almost a lifetime achievement award for Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, I agree.
For me, this is an easy one. It's Carrie Condon. It 100,000% should be Carrie Condon because Carrie Condon is phenomenal in this movie. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you. It's not so much that she's not in enough of the movie. She doesn't do anything flashy the whole movie. Yeah. It's all so subdued. Oscar voters hate subdued. They hate quiet. They hate not in your face screaming the whole time that this is what's going to happen. I don't think there's it's a no-brainer. Carrie Condon 1,000% should win this. But it's going to be Jamie Lee Curtis. And I'm not giving up the point. I'll be very happy if Carrie Condon wins and I don't get my point for this.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with one that also became very interesting. Best Actress. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Best Actress is not a lock. When the hell did that happen? We have Cate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for Blonde, Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is a two-horse race. Yep. Ana de Armas has no shot. Andrea Riseborough has no shot. Michelle Williams just didn't do enough. In my opinion, this is a two-horse race.
Yep, I agree.
I don't know why it's a two-horse race.
I don't either. I think it's so clear who should win this category. It's not even funny.
It's not even remotely. This should not even be remotely close. I'm looking at DraftKings right now, and actually, out of all of the big categories, like in terms of the acting, so acting for best supporting actors, Angela Bassett's plus 125, Jamie Lee Curtis plus 150, Carrie Condon's plus 225. That's actually the anybody like the most wide open of the categories. But for this one, they have Michelle Yeoh at minus 140, and they have Cate Blanchett at plus 100 for Tar. So they only have Michelle Yeoh favored by a little bit, despite her winning the SAG. What in the world am I missing? And what did Michelle Yeoh do in this movie that is worthy of winning Best Actress over Cate Blanchett and Tar? I need somebody to give me like a video of why Michelle Yeoh deserves to win this award. I don't think she deserves it at all. I don't even think this is close. I think Cate Blanchett is the best actress of this year. And I think there's a gap as large as the Grand Canyon before we get to Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, I think like Michelle Yeoh's performance is like very strong in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Michelle Yeoh,
But Cate Blanchett this is one of the greatest performances of all time. Cate Blanchett's performance in Tar is so incredible. It is, like you said, it's miles above anything else this year. It is so strong. It is so emotional. You're just drawn into this movie. This movie is like 2.5 hours long, and it doesn't feel like that because of Cate Blanchett's performance.
Totally.
So we're both in agreement then, right? It's just Cate Blanchett should win, will win. Do you say she's going to win, or are you?
Yeah, I have her for will win, should win. I think so. This reminds me of, again, I keep going back to Boseman, and I'm not picking on Boseman here, but if you go and you look, so Will Smith won it in 2021 for the SAG, and then he won the Oscar. 2019, it was Joaquin Phoenix, then he won the Oscar. Rami Malek in 2018 in the worst Best Actor winning performance of all time, and he won the Oscar, right? Like, so you're getting the trend here. It's if you win that, you win the Oscar. But in 2020, Chadwick Boseman, who was the story that year, won the SAG and then lost the Oscar to Anthony Hopkins. This feels like that to me. This feels like Michelle Yeoh won, and everybody's like, wow, like, that's great. We gave her that award. But we all do realize how great Cate Blanchett was in this movie, right? And I think Cate Blanchett wins this. Like, and I'm sorry, but like Michelle Yeoh is not famous enough or big enough or have like enough of like an illustrious career that she should be like getting some sort of lifetime achievement award. Like, I would almost guarantee that 99% of the people voting couldn't name another movie she was in. Seriously.
Not even her other Oscar nominated movie.
Oh, that's true. Okay, never mind. Okay, name 2 movies she was in. Name 2 she was in. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's been so long. I mean, how long ago did that movie come out?
It's 20 years.
It was 2003?
Yeah, because it was just re-released in theaters for its 20th anniversary.
Oh,
we're not thinking about the same movie.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
No, that came out in 2000. Yeah, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon came out in 2000.
Okay.
I'm just glad that we finally said the movie. Okay, so, but she doesn't, I mean, she was in Crazy Rich Asians, which, like, was popular and everything. It's just, this is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. And I mean, so what are you going with then? Are you going with Michelle Yeoh?
I'm going Cate all the way. I don't think I've ever been more confident in someone's performance. Like, it is so, it's just incredible. You're just taken in by it the entire time.
And that's what I said when Anthony Hopkins, right? I said Chadwick Boseman was very good, but Anthony Hopkins was all-time great. And I think that more often than not, all-time great ultimately does win out. And Michelle Yeoh, if she wasn't that good in the movie, that movie's still good. If Cate Blanchett's not as good as she is in Tar is absolute trash. It's absolute trash. I mean, and the big thing here is Cate Blanchett is popular enough that we saw her win the Oscar for Blue Jasmine, which was not a very popular movie. So I think she has the star power to carry herself over the edge. I think she's going to win it.
I think like the big thing with Cate Blanchett's performance, the Tar opens with 20 minutes of Cate Blanchett sitting there.
Yeah.
And you're just so engrossed in her performance.
Yeah. I agree. All right, we got 3 left. Best actor. So best actor's a fun one, even though it's it's open, but I think all the nominees here are fun. So Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser, The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nighy for Living. Paul Mescal and Bill Nighy, I don't think I have any chance in hell of winning, but I'm happy to see both of them nominated, even though I haven't seen After Sun yet. I know that I'm going to end up liking that movie. That was a sneeze. So I think this is a 3-horse race. Mm-hmm. And Colin Farrell's actually kind of been the one who has struggled the most, especially after losing the BAFTA with how popular Banshees of Inisherin was at the BAFTA. He lost it to Austin Butler, right? If I'm not mistaken, it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Austin Butler won. Brendan Fraser just won the SAG. Now, look, if you're looking at odds here, again, I'm looking at DraftKings. Brendan Fraser -165, Austin Butler +120, Colin Farrell +1200. If you're looking for a long shot to bet a couple dollars on and possibly get a good payday, this is the one where I would do it, because +1200 is pretty. That means if you bet $100, you win $1,200.
Yeah,
that means you could bet 10 and win 120. I don't think Colin Farrell's that much of a long shot, even though I do think that this is a 3. It's a 3-horse race, but I don't think he's that much of a long shot. I think he's got enough of a following. What do you ultimately think is going to happen, though?
I think Paul Mescal should win this, in all honesty. If not for the fact that After Sun was the best movie that came out this year, and this is the only nomination it got. I think this is Brendan Fraser's to lose, though.
Mm-hmm. So I haven't seen. I said I haven't seen The Whale, and I haven't seen After Sun yet, and I want to see. I really want to see both of them. I think Brendan Fraser is going to win. Based on what I've seen, I think it should be Colin Farrell. Austin Butler was really good. I wouldn't be mad if Austin Butler won, but I don't think Austin Butler was that good. Like he kind of how I feel about Michelle Yeoh. They were good. Like they could win, and it's not Rami Malek.
Yeah,
it's not that level of like, what the hell are you giving an award to? But like after I was done with it, I was like, yeah, Austin Butler was really good. Like he had some really good moments in that movie, but he's not Colin Farrell.
It's so hard to evaluate Austin Butler's performance in that film because it's a Baz Luhrmann movie, so there's a lot going on at all the time. And Tom Hanks is in way too much of that movie.
Yeah. He almost feels like the main star of it a lot of the time.
He gives us our opening narration. He gives us all the narration. There are points in that movie where I'm just like, why is Tom Hanks' character the one narrating this right now? I don't want to hear this from his perspective. I want to hear this from Elvis's perspective, especially not when Tom Hanks has the worst accent he has ever put to film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that is what makes it hard with Austin Butler. It is so scattered, and Baz Luhrmann is just so chaotic. But I think we're in agreement. Brendan Fraser is going to pull this thing out.
I think so.
I think he's got enough hype. He's well loved in the industry. That's going to get it for him. Yeah. All right, last 2 of the night. Best, and thank God because it's midnight and I'm so tired. Best director: Martin McDonagh for Banshees of Inisherin, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness.
This is a tough one. This is a very tough one.
You know what it is? There's a lot that goes into this one, right? Mm-hmm. If Banshees is going to win Best Picture, Martin McDonagh has a shot. Right now, I don't think Banshees has a chance to, but Banshees could win Best Picture. I just don't think it's going to, but it could, and it definitely is deserving, and it definitely has enough of a following, but I don't know how seriously to take Martin McDonagh. The Daniels feel like the play here. I don't think Todd Field's going to win, even though I think Todd Field was great. I just don't think he's big enough of a name, and I don't think enough people saw Tar. Same with Ruben Östlund. So I'm looking at the Daniels, Steven Spielberg, and Martin McDonagh, and I'm like, Steven Spielberg, this might be the last shot. And The Fabelmans hasn't won anything.
Yeah.
But can a movie only win Best Director?
I don't think so. Maybe.
But do they give it to the Daniels over Steven Spielberg? And if Banshees goes on to win, does Martin McDonagh actually have any chance, or would they give it to Steven Spielberg?
It's so tough because, like, we know the Oscars hates giving awards to pairs of directors.
Yeah.
They hate it. They absolutely hate it. That's why these two men are going by the Daniels. It's so that they can have a chance of winning Best Director. It's why the Coen brothers are the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the Oscars just hate giving this to two directors, which I think takes their chances down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If their chances go down, I think that means Martin McDonagh's goes up. But I don't know. Again, like, does Martin McDonagh pull this off? Because I don't know if he, like, it's kind of the Steven Spielberg situation where it's like, can someone just win Best Director and, like, nothing else?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so tough. And, like, Todd Field's direction was impeccable.
Oh, it's superb.
It's so good. In fact, like, lock me down for the most deserving is Todd Field. Like, I think Todd Field should win this. Ruben Östlund also does a great job with Triangle of Sadness.
He does.
This is so tough. I think that the Oscars hating giving it to two people is going to weigh out here. I'm giving this one to Martin McDonagh.
You know, I hope you're right. I think Martin McDonagh has deserved an Oscar for a little while here.
I think so. I think that's kind of also weighing into this is Martin McDonagh has made some very good films. And, like, it almost feels like he's due for that Best Directing Oscar.
All right. This is hard. So I think it should be McDonagh. I think Todd Field and McDonagh are like 1A and 1B, but clearly Banshees of Inisherin was my favorite movie of the year. So So I have McDonagh. For Will Win, I'm between the Daniels and Spielberg.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to look this up real quick. Hang on. This is important.
Spielberg Oscars?
I got to look up how many times has he been nominated for Best Director. So Munich, Lincoln. He was nominated for West Side Story.
Yeah, he was nominated last year. Is that it?
The Fabelmans, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Saving Private Ryan,
Schindler's List.
Okay. I just wanted to check that. So he was nominated for West Side Story. And he didn't win. And I'm like, it's because he didn't win. Do they give it to him this time? Because not for nothing. I don't know the personality of the Daniels, and I don't know how they're revered in Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
But I don't think people wouldn't be mad to not give it to them and essentially give Spielberg a Lifetime Achievement Award.
How many Best Directors has Spielberg won?
He won for Saving Private Ryan. He won for Schindler's List. I think that's it. I think just those two.
Just the two? So it's been...
Didn't win for E.T., didn't win for Raiders of the Lost Ark, didn't win for Close Encounters,
so
didn't win for West Side Story.
Since he's won?
Yeah, he has not won since Saving Private Ryan. So it was 1998. 25 years ago.
25 years. They might. It's a possibility.
I'm going to stick with the Daniels.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with the Daniels, but Spielberg could win this. This is the one where, again, like if I'm looking for a little bit of a long shot, he's at plus 600 on DraftKings. That's a good spot to look. It's a good spot to look. All right, the last one, and then I can go to bed. The last one of the night, Best Picture, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. I'll speak for both of us for a second here, and I'll let you give like little tidbits on these. I'm immediately knocking out Women Talking, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, even though Ruben Östlund got the nomination. Elvis, Avatar: The Way of Water. I'm knocking out those 5 right off the bat. You agree, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So that leaves us with All Quiet on the Western Front, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, and Tar. This is the most wide open Oscars in a long time. I know a lot of people are really considering like Everything Everywhere All at Once is a lock. It's going to happen. It's won this, that, whatever. It's won all 4 of the major guilds. And the only other movies to do that all won Best Picture at the Oscars. Like I get all those. I get all those precursors.
Yeah. I thought they didn't.
No, it did. It won the WGA and the PGA and the SAG and the DGA. It didn't win the BAFTA.
Right.
That was the big surprise. And then at the Golden Globes, it didn't win. It lost the Golden Globes, right? Because it lost Banshees and I guess it did win. Didn't it win? Did it win half of it?
It did win too, yeah.
Okay. But anyway, all of that aside, we're looking at here like on DraftKings minus 1,100, meaning you bet $1,100 to win 100. Whereas All Quiet on the Western Front with the second best odds is plus 1,000, meaning you bet 100 to win 1,000. I mean,
those odds seem so wide.
It's so wrong. And then Banshees is plus 1,400, Top Gun Maverick is plus 1,600, and The Fabelmans is plus 3,000. I just think this is incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think this is so much more wide open than people are giving it credit for. I really do. I think Banshees and All Quiet on the Western Front and The Fabelmans are much closer. I think Tar ultimately is just not enough. It doesn't get over the hump. It's not going to have enough love. It didn't make enough money, whatever. The Fabelmans is a love letter to film by arguably the most popular director in the history of film. All Quiet on the Western Front is a brutally realistic war film from Netflix, who is still waiting to win an Oscar, or at least for Best Picture, right? Because they haven't won one yet.
Yeah, because Power of the Dog didn't win last year.
Because it didn't win. And it won all this stuff at the BAFTAs. You have the Banshees of Inisherin, which is this totally bizarro movie from a director who's always in the mix but never gets the win. And then you have Everything Everywhere All at Once that is like a phenomenon right now.
Mm-hmm.
But is it really that heavily favored? Should it be that heavily favored?
I don't know. It's such a tough call. Because, like, the big thing with this year, there is one movie I actively dislike out of all 10 of these nominations.
Yeah.
I believe it's the same with you.
Yeah.
It's Avatar. Which, let me just ask you, is Avatar worse than our worst picture from last year, which was Don't Look Up?
No. Well, maybe. It was close.
It's close. I still think Don't Look Up was worse. Which is saying something because Avatar wasn't all good. But these, I agree with you. It's these 5. I think The Fabelmans is further out. I think Tar was the best made movie of the year. It's not my favorite of the year. I think it was the best made movie of the year. I think it should win Best Picture. It's the type of movie that wins Best Picture. It has a performance that wins Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a film that wins Best Picture.
Yeah.
But
Cotfield got the director nom, which is big.
Yeah. I just don't think enough people like this movie because in the end, this movie is pretentious. So pretentious. And
it doesn't say what people want it to say a lot of the time, too. Like, Cate Blanchett's Tar is not a good person who doesn't necessarily just say, like, it's very anti-cancel culture, very anti, judging people for things that don't have anything to do with whatever. Like, it's very weird.
It is. It's weird. But, like, that closing scene is phenomenal. The closing moments of Tar just, like, got me. Like, the entire movie got me. And I was sitting there watching it with my friend who has a master's in composition. So we're both music people. We're sitting there, we're watching, we're fascinated. We know all of these pieces that they're talking about throughout the film. And we're just sitting there thinking. I turned to him and I asked, is this movie too music for non-music people to really get it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is. I think it is. Because I think it's just like, if you're not that entrenched in like the realm of professional music and know professional musicians and the way conductors act and things like that. I don't know if this film hits as heavy as it did for me. Because again, like I think this is the best film made this year. I didn't think All Quiet had a chance until it won the BAFTA.
Yeah.
And then that had me questioning, like people are really liking this movie. And like I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great depiction of World War I, which is this time frame that we don't get often, but when we do, like these movies tend to stick with us because they just show how harrowing that time frame was.
Mm-hmm.
Banshees was phenomenal. Through and through. It's so well done. Like you said, it is an incredibly Irish film, and the performances in it, straight up. There's a reason why like the entire cast is nominated for a Best Actor of nomination at some point.
Some acting award, yeah.
Capacity. The Fabelmans feels like the type of movie that the Academy likes, right? Like it's a movie about loving movies from the guy who makes a lot of movies and is pretty much synonymous with movies. But Everything Everywhere All at Once, the thing that really intrigues me about it is it came out in February and it wasn't a big hit right away.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a big hit, and it grew and it grew and it grew until it got to the point where everyone saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can deny that type of expansion of a film over that prolonged. Like this movie came out at the beginning of last year.
Oh yeah.
Like this movie came out before the last Oscars.
Yeah.
It was so big. It is just one of those movies that I don't think anyone really ever expected to be the cultural phenomenon it turned out to be. I have to give it to Everything Everywhere All at Once.
And what are you saying should win?
I think Tar should win. I think from a technical standpoint and an entertainment standpoint and everything, I think Tar is the best film made this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Everything Everywhere All at Once it's not my favorite because I think After Sun has edged it out, but it's right up there. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is just a phenomenal film.
So I have Banshees as the should win, obviously. I've talked about that enough.
It's tough. It's tough.
So the last time that a movie won the PGA and did not go on to win Best Picture was 1917. Not the year 1917, the movie 1917.
The movie 1917, okay.
Which lost to Parasite, which wasn't eligible for the PGA.
Oh.
And then if you keep going back, Green Book, Shape of Water, La La Land obviously lost to like La La Land and The Big Short were back-to-back years, and obviously neither one of those won Best Picture. But other than that, it normally lines up. Birdman, 12 Years a Slave, Argo, The Artist, The King's Speech, The Hurt Locker, Slumdog, No Country for Old Men. Oh, Little Miss Sunshine, that's random. Brokeback Mountain, Avatar, or The Aviator. Okay, that was different. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Chicago, Moulin Rouge, that was different. Gladiator, American Beauty. Like, it very rarely happens.
Mm-hmm.
But I think All Quiet on the Western Front has all the momentum.
Wow.
I really do. I think it has all the momentum. And I think with the ranked voting system, nobody is going to put All Quiet on the Western Front at 7, 8, 9, or 10. This is a top 3 or 4 movie for everybody.
Yeah, probably.
The same cannot be said for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Everything Everywhere All at Once is a weird movie. I love it. I really do. And here's the one thing that I want to be known for this year. As long as Avatar: The Way of Water does not win, whatever movie wins Best Picture is better than the last 2 Best Picture winners. Like, I think that wholeheartedly. Because it was Nomadland and Coda.
Oh, Nomadland, right.
Nomadland and Coda, and I don't like either of them. So I think that whatever wins this year is worth it. Like, if Everything Everywhere All at Once wins, I'm all about it. I really enjoyed that movie. My wife won't be happy. She freaking hated it, but I loved it. Like, I thought it was a very good movie. It's not my favorite. I think I have it 4th. Let me double check that real quick, because we always do that. We'll have to do that at the very end here and just say, hey, this is what we have as our top 10 here before we go. But when I look at mine right now, I go Banshees, Tar, All Quiet on the Western Front, Triangle of Sadness, then Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I would have 5. The Fabelmans, Top Maverick, Elvis, Women Talking, Avatar: The Way of Water. Avatar is the only one I don't like.
Yep.
But I just like if I was doing ranked voting, All Quiet on the Western Front's my number 3.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be hard pressed to find somebody who doesn't have in the top 3. Power of the Dog lost last year because Power of the Dog was probably at the bottom of a lot of people's. That's where Banshees is right now.
I agree.
What's the Coda this year? Because Coda, I think it was rigged. I think Coda won as a sham. I don't think it was actually voted on. I really don't. I think that was a sham. But Coda wins. What's this year's Coda? Is it Everything Everywhere All at Once, or is it All Quiet on the Western Front? And part of me is starting to think it's becoming All Quiet on the Western Front because I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is too weird for a lot of the older voters. I think All Quiet on the Western Front, you're not going to find anybody who says wasn't good.
So you don't think the language barrier could stop?
No, because it's on Netflix. Everybody's watching it in English.
Oh, that's right. That is right.
If you were going to theater to see it, yeah, that'd be a big deal. But everybody's watching on Netflix where it's dubbed, unless you change it. And most people aren't changing that.
Wait, your Netflix automatically sets it to English?
My Netflix automatically set it to English. Yeah, we had to change it to.
Whoa, mine automatically set it to German.
But this is what I'm saying. So if you're here and your settings are the same as mine, you're automatically setting it to English. Just sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to change it. I don't think that there is a language barrier. So I think All Quiet on the Western Front wins. I think the Banshees of Inisherin should win. I think that Everything Everywhere All at Once is likely to win if it's not, if it's not one of those.
Yeah.
And I think The Fabelmans is the outside shot here.
I really wish it was Tar as the outside shot, though.
Yeah, I don't think Tar can get in.
No, I don't think so either. But Tar is so good.
Give us your top 10 ranking before we get out of here.
Of the best.
Well, the 10 rank the best picture nominations. Do you have that rank?
I can figure it out right now. I'm going to go with Tar at number 1. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Banshees of Inisherin. All Quiet on the Western Front. Triangle of Sadness. The Fabelmans. Which ones haven't I said?
Top Gun, Elvis, Women Talking, and Avatar.
Elvis, Top Gun, Women Talking, and then Avatar. And Avatar is the only one I actively disliked.
We're very similar in that this year.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I'm done talking. That's it, John. We did a great job. Yeah. One with the Stone said you guys do great work. Thank you. Appreciate everybody who listened. We had a pretty good viewership there live. Hopefully this helps you all go out and win your Oscar pool, even though this is, I really do believe, the hardest year. And maybe it's not that hard. Maybe we should have just put Everything Everywhere All at Once for everything. But I think this is a really tough year. I really think this is wide open, and I think it's going to be some surprising stuff. One thing I will say with All Quiet on the Western Front, the fact that Edward Berger was not nominated for director definitely hurts it and was something that was going to prevent me. But as we have seen more often in the last 10 years than any other time in Hollywood history, it doesn't matter. Sean Hayter was not nominated last year. Coda still won. Is that even who directed that movie?
I don't know. I kind of forgot what was the movie.
Yeah. She's still listed as an American television writer. She's not even listed as a director. So yeah, that's it. I think it can still pull it out. So that's what we got. Hopefully this works for all of you. We'll be back next week. We're going to be talking about Boogie Nights and The Road.
I believe so. Yeah, I think that's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
Really happy movie and one really depressing movie.
They're both pretty freaking depressing. Boogie Nights is pretty damn depressing.
Boogie Nights has the touch in it.
Yeah, the 80s are pretty depressing. But thank you, everybody, for listening. We will see you next week. Good luck with your Oscar stuff, and hope you enjoy the actual Oscars on Sunday. We talk about all the hype, but forget that you're supposed to actually enjoy that show. So hope you enjoy that.